Hey everybody, it's Lifty, and today let's brew geometry as a filter offering. This is our lovely, more modern blend. So again, if our baseline is like southern weather, this really approachable, not too bright, not too traditional blend, geometry drifts more towards that modern side of things. I expect more fruit notes, more acidity, more delicate texture, and floral delicate flavors. So southern weather's here in the middle. If I want something more traditional, rich, then I'm gonna go Monarch. And if I want something a little bit brighter, modern, like a sipping coffee, this is gonna be geometry. That's not to say you can't down a whole cup of geometry, but I really love this delicate and bright. And we're gonna lean into that today with our filter recipe. I have a origami that I'm gonna brew with a cone filter. You can use a Hario V60. You could even use the flat filter in this origami. It's wet, that paper filter. And I am brewing with 20 grams of coffee ground medium coarse. This is 950 microns, or 6 2/3 on my fellow Ode Gen 2. We are pretty coarse right here. Chunky sand. That universal descriptor right there for you. Let's dose this coffee. We're well coarser than a powder. I should not have any point where my water is just like stuck in this brew bed. It should be that coarse. Shake that flat. I've got 20 grams of coffee, and we're gonna brew with 300 grams of water set to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Start, and let's bloom. Pour pretty light, up to 50 grams total. There we go. I'm gonna let this bloom for 30 seconds. And at 30 seconds, I'm gonna hit this pretty heavy, reaching all the way up to 120 grams total. Geometry really is like a counterpart to Monarch. They are traditionally the same base washed Latin American coffee, but where Monarch is a natural East African coffee to give us those winey notes, Geometry is traditionally a washed East African coffee, so more delicate, more tea, and we experience that in this iteration of our blend. We're going to get more Earl Grey tea, we're going to get more berries like blueberry, and we're going to get honeysuckle, so this white flower but still sweet. Here at 1 minute and 15 seconds, I'm gonna hit this up to 180. So for this recipe, I've ground pretty coarse. I'm effectively doing these small pulses and letting the water drip all the way through. So we're gonna have a very bright and delicate cup. Not too delicate. Even though we're getting these tea notes, I wouldn't describe the strength being tea-like, just the texture being a little bit more tea-like. At 2 minutes, I'm gonna hit this up to 240 grams total. Again, my water should drip all the way through. I shouldn't see water standing here at the top when I do this pour. That should be almost done dripping out the bottom. But it doesn't need to be completely stopped. Up to 240, there we go. Now I've got one pour left, and this is going to happen at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So at 2:45, I hit this one last time, bringing myself up to 300 grams total, and let it drip out. If you're familiar with this recipe, this is the Tetsu 4-6 method. My 2 first pours bring me up to 40% of my total water volume, and then I split the rest of my water volume in these equal pours. This just gives us bright cup, good texture, good sweetness. And it's a really efficient brew method. Because we're letting that water drip all the way through, I'm hitting it with fresh hot water, which is still going to extract this coffee really nicely. Effectively, we steer clear of this astringency because we're at a grind size that's not going to let us choke. We're doing these multiple pours. We get the steady flow rate each and every time. We never spend too much time soaking. We don't have channels forming because we're not clumped up with this grind size. Nice even brew method. And I expect this to drain around 3.5 to 4 minutes. Popcorn rule, give myself 2 seconds in between these drips. But yeah, geometry more delicate and bright. If you do grind too coarse even for this recipe, where your water's too cool or it drains too quickly, then it's gonna be too sour. We're gonna get this lemon zest and this kind of like lemongrass, which to me is not particularly pleasant. Here we go, 350 mine is finished. If we let geometry drain too long, now we get these berries and this light citrus, but now we're covering it up with too much bitterness. It tastes like the dregs of an Earl Grey tea, tannic, drying, and bitter. Instead, I want these berries, I want this citrus. Serve and enjoy.